You guys asked for it, so I'm going to deliver. Let's talk BYOD. Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Mo Mondays. In this week's episode, we are talking BYOD, or Bring Your Own Device. Now, as you all know, I'm a big advocate of Microsoft Teams Rooms. We've been talking about it for a number of years now, even before COVID was a thing, that it is, the best solution out there if you really want to go out and create meeting room spaces to create equality, etc. However, with the way the world has been right now, where people are being challenged to come back to work, and when you go back to the workplace, the technology in the rooms are not the best, etc. It becomes a challenge. So organizations are now starting to think of, hey, do we go native Teams rooms? Do we still have some BYOD rooms, etc.? And we're starting to see a whole kind of shift in terms of dynamics of creating different spaces to suit different needs. In fact, let me go ahead and just share my screen across here. When we look at the typical office estate space, in like an ideal world scenario, it should look like what you see here on the screen. It should look like, a mixture of Teams rooms, a few BYOD rooms, some hot space, bookable work desks, etc., but the majority being Teams rooms. Now, this is hopefully what most organizations will strive to move towards, where, natively or predominantly, should I say, it should be native Teams rooms. And then, of course, you have some BYOD rooms to kind of cater for those users that may be outside of your corporate organization, or maybe just want to run a meeting through your laptop. Now, we know with Teams rooms, many Teams rooms OEMs out there already provide BYOD solutions as part of their actual native Teams rooms devices. That's there. You can absolutely do that. But in some scenarios, customers do want a pure BYOD where it's maybe for a kind of a smaller room. Now, when we talk Teams rooms, I'm just going to set the record straight here, because with the native Teams rooms, the idea is four major pillars. It's being inclusive, having those inclusive conversations, those inclusive meetings, with features like front row and AI capabilities, which we'll talk about in a second. It's the ease of use. Whichever Teams rooms you use, it looks exactly the same. Whichever OEM it is that you use, it will look exactly the same. You can get HP Poly, you can have Logitech, you can have Crestron, you can have Yealing, or some of the other partners out there as well. And regardless of which device it is that you're using, you get that same look and feel of all the devices across the board. Of course, they're flexible as well. So there's different devices like all-in-ones and collaboration bars and collaborative screens, etc. Those displays that have whiteboards built in, like you see here on screen. But most importantly, they're secured. These are purpose-built devices made for meeting room spaces. Nothing can go wrong with them, because, for in terms of a user going in and trying to mess anything up, there's less chance of that actually happening, because those devices are locked down in that ecosystem. It's locked down in that mode, so customers can't go in and change any settings unless those settings are like for the meeting itself. But actually to like mess up a device, you won't be able to do that. So these are very, very secure. And I've done some episodes in, have a look on the playlist. I've done some episodes in last year, I think it was, where I actually talk about Teams rooms being appliance devices. So if you haven't seen that, do go and check that out as well. And of course, one of the biggest parts about a native Teams rooms is the fact that it can be managed, right? You can use Teams Admin Center, you can use the Pro Management Portal, you can get some really good insights, you can raise your tickets, and even have it automated. So if you are using a Pro license with the Pro Management Portal, it will automatically detect any issues and attempt to try and fix them or raise tickets on your behalf as well. Of course, with Teams rooms, when we talk about inclusivity and equality, Microsoft brought this out, right? They brought Front Row out, which is really designed to foster that deeper sense of connection. It gives you lifelike size images of people at the bottom of your screen. Your content is there, your chat functionality is there as well. You don't get that with BYOD, by the way. It's with the Teams rooms, you're going to get the very best experience. And then, of course, when we look at AI enhanced capabilities, and the talk is AI or Copilot, that AI capability is already native on native Teams rooms devices, things like spatial audio, where voices come out from the right hand side of the speaker if the video's on the right hand side, or video gallery segmentation where cameras will then go out and split groups of people into individual windows, all the way down to noise suppression. Right, we kind of take that for granted now, but noise suppression technologies within Teams makes life so much more easier, so you can concentrate on the things that are super, super important. So just to round it off, to get the very best of a meeting room space, Microsoft would always say, hey, I would always say as well, native Teams rooms is the best way to move forwards. However, Microsoft is starting to bring some new innovations as well. So, for example, with speaker recognition, I spoke about this, and I think it was the last episode when I talked about some of the updates coming along. With Teams rooms, you can add additional components, things like speaker recognition or intelligent speakers. I don't know why Microsoft call it intelligent speaker. It should be intelligent microphone because it's a microphone that picks it up. But effectively, what it will do is it will identify the people inside of that room and actually assign identity to the transcription. So if you transcribe and you turn that part on, it will actually say Mo Khalifa is talking and not Meeting Room 101 is talking. It's now being expanded, which means you don't need to have a dedicated intelligent speaker or intelligent microphone. It will use pretty much any microphone out there. And as long as you've done a voice imprint using Teams, it will be able to assign your name to your voice when you're inside of a meeting room space. Now, when we look at BYOD spaces, what we're finding is there's always going to be a need for BYOD. And you may have the same experiences as I've had where in the past, if a customer came up saying, hey, we want to do a Teams Rooms estate, perfect, great, we'll deploy your Teams Rooms estate, but we still need to have some BYOD rooms to cater for external guests, etc., etc. Usually when you hit that BYOD conversation, then it's not really a Microsoft conversation anymore because you can't track that within Teams Rooms, within Teams Admin Center or Pro Management Portal until now, which I'm going to talk to you about. And one of the good things about this is now Microsoft has added BYOD functionality as part of that Microsoft Teams Rooms story. So Teams Rooms isn't just about signature rooms or entry-level rooms or traditional Teams Rooms. It now includes those shared work desks, and I'll do an episode on that soon. It includes BYOD spaces as well. So what's the difference? What's going to happen? Traditionally, if you created a BYOD room, it would normally be, a small room, table and chairs. You'd have a screen on top, and then you'd add a camera, mic, speakers. It's pretty much it, and you're good to go. And a user would just come in and plug in a HDMI, plug in, USB, and then just share or mirror everything that comes off from their laptop onto the big screen. Now, Microsoft very intelligently realized that everybody has a laptop, everyone has a mobile phone, and 99% of the time, if you're a Microsoft house, you're going to have Microsoft Teams on those devices. So why not put the intelligence inside of the Microsoft Teams app on your desktop? And that's exactly what they've done in this BYOD scenario. So now you could walk in with your laptop, plug it into a BYOD device, either by a single USB-C cable, some OEMs provide that, or via HDMI and USB as well. And when you go to share, it will actually just share what's relevant for the room, not your personal information. So you'll see here on the screenshot that you see here, the host laptop view shows like the desktop with the Windows icons and stuff, and it shows like Teams across there, and the view you would get from your laptop, or if you were sitting at home. But on the room display, it looks very similar to a Teams Rooms, where it shows your video and it will show chat popping up as well. Even down to the point where if you're using things like PowerPoint Live, again, if you share PowerPoint Live, you on your laptop will have the views where you see the notes, the presenter view, effectively you see the notes and the next slide, etc. But on the big screen, it will give you that experience like a Teams Rooms, where you have video on one side and kind of content on the other as well. So that's amazing. And what does it look like? It's very, very easy to use. So you simply would plug that single cable in, depending on the device that you're using. And then just before you start your meeting, where, you can turn your cameras on and off, you'll notice just on the bottom right, it'll say search for a room or connected room devices. It will identify what you're plugged into, and it will say, hey, do you want to use the room audio and video? Hit yes. And then it will effectively know that you're in a shared space or a BYOD space, and then put you into that mode where when you're presenting, it'll only show things that are relevant for the room and not any personal information that pops up. If you are using a actual Teams rooms, yes, you naturally would walk in and just hit that join button and away you go and connect your laptop to it and you're good. But if you are, by chance using a BYOD room, there's an extra step. You would then search for the room or just press connected room devices and then select what you are connected to. And then all the magic then happens after that. Now, one of the other pillars around Teams rooms was about security and management. One good thing that Microsoft has done or is doing in the BYOD space is actually bringing across that managed aspect of it in a limited way, right? There's only so much you can actually manage when it comes to kind of BYOD because it doesn't have the intelligence like a native Teams rooms. However, we want to be able to kind of see what's going on. So Microsoft is now investing in that Pro management portal. So if you are using that Pro license, you will now start getting a lot more data that shows within the Pro management portal. You'll start getting reports and things like that. And let me show you exactly how that works. It's very, very simple. As a partner, you'd go in, you would install, an all-in-one BYOD device from, Poly, Logi, Crestron, whoever, Yealing, whoever it may be, you install that. Now, a user would walk into the room and they plug their laptop in and they follow those options I showed you previously and then start using a device. The idea is what will happen is when that user goes in and plugs a device, the Teams desktop app will effectively ping the Pro management server and it will say, hey, I'm connected to BYOD devices. Let me start providing you with some data. And what will happen is once the fifth person connects to this screen, so the first time that you install a room, the first 4 people that will connect to this BYOD solution, it won't ping the Pro management server because effectively it thinks that you're using a personal device, like you're using like a monitor at home. Soon as the 5th person plugs in, now I know on screen it says 2 unique users. Microsoft's changed that, it's now 5. When the 5th person plugs in, then it will be like, okay, now I'm a shared device. I know because 5 individual people have connected to me. So I'm probably a shared device. Let me ping the server and send my information across. But up until 5, it won't do anything, right? So you got to get to the 5th. Once the 5th user plugs in, it will then query the Pro management portal and then start sending data across. You do have the option to manually add. So if you are in a greenfield site, for example, and you've just installed 5 BYOD rooms, you can use a CSV document and you can upload it within Pro management portal with serial numbers and data, etc., and then actually import that directly. Or you can let PMP or Pro management portal do it organically. So when the 5th user plugs in, it will automatically then start popping up under inventory. So now if you are using Pro management portal, on the left-hand side, you've got the inventory bit. You'll have your rooms bit, which is what I've spoken about before, where you see all the usage data and all of that stuff. But next to it, you now have devices. Devices is that inventory part of everything that Pro management portal has detected. Now, it can become a mess, especially if you've got a lot of devices and a lot of BYOD rooms. But what it will do effectively is it'll start listing everything out. And, people know that one of the challenges of BYOD is things going missing, right? They end up on eBay or, sites such as them because people nick them, people steal them. But this way, at least you're now starting to create an inventory list of all the devices that you have in these BYOD spaces. And you can see here on screen, we've got a Polysync 40, we've got a Yearning device, we've got a Logitech Meetup, and even got an Anchor device there, right? And if you have a look on the right-hand side, it will say, whether these are team certified or not. So team certified devices will flag up saying, yeah, these are team certified devices, and some that are not. So like this Anchor device here is not a team certified device. Now, depending on what you have in that BYOD room will depend on what data is then sent into Pro management portal. Some devices will provide very basic data. Other devices will provide more in-depth data. Okay, so just bear that in mind. You're not going to get like a Teams rooms type of report that pops out. And again, that's one of the advantages of Teams rooms. Now, stage 1 is inventory. So when the 5th user plugs in, everything pops up under inventory. And then you, as the IT administrator, then have the ability to actually say, okay, these devices belong to this particular room. And you'll see here on the right-hand side, we've got room name that says needs action. When you hit that needs action button, what you can do is you can actually create a room resource account. And remember, room resource accounts are free, right? It doesn't cost you anything. It's just an account. So create a room resource account for that BYOD room. And then you assign which devices go in there. So this Polysync 40 sits inside of St. Helens as an example, or BYOD room 1. And then you effectively start building that inventory list of BYOD rooms and native teams rooms. That's where it stops if you want the free part. Now, if you want to get hold of more data, then you want to absolutely assign a license to it. And we'll get to that. So you've got your inventory, and you can see across here on this screen, we see all our rooms, we see all our teams rooms. We also now start seeing BYOD rooms pop up because we've created those BYOD rooms and we've assigned those devices into those BYOD rooms. But what you'll see is it comes up as unlicensed. What does that mean? Unlicensed basically means, hey, you've got inventory. That's as far as you get. And if you wanted to get hold of any data or any insights, you need to upgrade to the shared device license, the TSD license, Team Shared Device License, typically around the $8 a month mark. Obviously, if you're an EA customer, your pricing will differ. You may already have them included as part of your EA agreement. It's worth checking with your CSP provider or your Microsoft account manager. But if you assign that $8 a month license, that Team Shared Device License, now all of a sudden, you start getting insights. So when you hit that report button, you will start seeing call usage, how many times these rooms are being used, how long they're being used for, and then depending on the type of device that's sitting inside of that BYOD space, it will start giving you more and more data. So you'll start seeing like people presence, how many people are in the room, what the call quality was like. You've now got monitors that have cameras built in. You'll be able to see call quality in there as well. Was it reported as the call wasn't very good or the video was choppy? Was it the inbuilt camera on that monitor? Do you need to maybe upgrade into having a better camera, or even better, moving to a native Teams rooms? And you'll see across here that when you start building up this, it gives you as a partner the ability then and go back to that customer 6 months, 12 months down the line to actually have a look at that usage report and see which rooms get used a lot, what the usage quality looks like in those rooms, and then make that executive decision based on budgets or quality or whatever it may be, that these rooms potentially now you want to move to a native Teams rooms instead. Remember, BYOD is always kind of that stepping stone piece, right? It's like, we've got devices in there, you can plug it into your laptop, it will work, but it's not going to give you the best security, it's not going to give you the best reporting, but it will work, and you drive everything from your laptop. But if you want to get the very best, you want to then move towards kind of a native Teams rooms as well. So now BYOD actually forms as part of the wider Teams room story. So top of the list, we'd always recommend saying, go native Teams rooms. You get the very best of analytical data, you get the security, you get the inclusiveness, you get that ease of use. It looks the same across the board. But we know there's a lot of customers out there that still require BYOD rooms. And in that case, if you are using BYOD rooms, you can make sure that it then taps into the Pro Management Portal. So it's one single pane of glass that you will be able to see BYOD rooms. In the future, you'll see hot desking, and I'll talk about that in another video. And of course, you'll see your Teams rooms as well. So this is amazing. So when you then look at your shared space, you look at your estate, sorry, you now have a full Microsoft Teams solution out there. So if you haven't tried it out already, this is now in public preview. For those of you that have admin access into the Pro Management Portal, click on that Pro Management Portal, click on the Inventory tab, and then slide across to Devices, and you should start seeing all of the devices that are in BYOD spaces organically start popping up in there, and then you can go in and assign rooms to it. And then if you want to get the very best out of it, assign the shared device license to get your insights. So there you have it. Teams rooms now will also support that BYOD space. It's all under a single banner. Hopefully, that answers most of your questions. If you have any further questions, please do comment down below. As always, guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And no doubt, I shall see you guys very soon. Bye.